Well, that's completely useless. Okay, future people, give it a minute. I'm going to let people start joining. Try and figure some things out. Alright, let's see if anybody's in yet. Hey, there's somebody. What is my live about? Well, mostly just a question and answer. I'm currently trying, although I don't have electricity over here, to do a live in this building for everybody. Please work. I'm going to try and figure it out. I ain't got no lights over here yet. Need to figure something out here. I ain't got no lights in this building is the issue that I'm running into. Doesn't look like it's going to work. So we're just gonna run over to the shop, I guess. I tried for you guys. I don't have a good enough light source over here to be able to light the place up. So we're just gonna go over to the shop. Have a 400. What parts can you harvest? Put a 3-point hitch on it. Will parts from 318 fit? Yes, a 318 3-point. The 3-point arms itself are the same. I don't believe all of the pieces are. I have a 400 with 3-point over here. I'll show you when we get in here. Yes, I know I'm live. There we go. I'm going to go open the door for better service. Okay, let's see what kind of service we have now. Nope, no snow here. Just rain. That's the 3-point on the 400. I'm going to have to do a daytime live during the week sometime so that you guys can see what I have in the other building. It's too dark over there, I just tried. Okay, now I can start reading some comments. Get any snow? Nope, just rain like I said. It tried to snow this morning. We didn't even completely get a dusting and then it just melted off and it's laughed at us since. We got about 1.5 inches in central Ohio. Well, we didn't get any here. Where am I located? I'm Ohio. All right. After the last live, I did get the engine out of this 400. It's sitting here on the bench behind us. But, of course, you already know that if you watched the update video. What other model 3-point hitch will fit a 400? Most all open frame tractors have the same 3-point arms. It's just a matter of getting the correct rock shaft to go in the frame. So if you already have the rock shaft and the top link holder, you can take one out of a 316 Onan, 318, 330, 332, 322, all on up to, the 400, obviously, the 420, 430. Once you start getting into the foot pedal drive, like the 425, 445, 455, they're different. I do not know if the 400 and 318 have the same rock shaft. I do not think they do because the 400 has a different width frame. What are the plans for the 400? I'm rebuilding the starter. Same as I've been doing for the last couple weeks. I've just picked up some other projects. It's no longer in the budget to have the starter rebuilt, so it's sitting on hold. I started tearing into this Gravely the other day and have slowly been tinkering with it. It's getting there. Turning into a scrub guy. No, this is a Gravely. Let's see here. What in the heck else do we have? Don't really have a lot to go over, so I'll just sit here and answer questions. So what's on the agenda for tonight? Well, I'm not sure yet. I just got out here. I haven't picked anything out. I was trying to do a live in the other building so that the agenda could be go over some of the new tractors and toys and whatnot that I have. But yeah, that didn't work. I don't have lights over there yet, so I couldn't project enough light for everybody to see anything. So we're back over here in the shop. Where can I locate a cab for my 400? You just got to get lucky and find one on Marketplace. There's no set place to get one. Just watch Craigslist, maybe eBay, Marketplace. These tractors are old, so accessories, when people ask where do you get them, the answer is wherever you can find them. Waiting to, hey, come back here. I'm writing from Canada. Howdy doody. You guys got any snow up in Canada? Because we ain't got jack down here. Just rain and cold, but not cold enough to snow. Just cold enough to piss everybody off. No snow. Yep. I would really like to have some snow, but the forecast is not obliging me here. Everybody wants videos and still nothing. Yeah, everybody wants videos for snow plowing, and that makes me too. I want to make them, but this dang weather doesn't know how to snow. Just north of Toronto. Okay. So I do want to go over a few things. Well, I have some people's ear. I mean, there's only 3 fellers here. Just put a snowblower on 400 and no freaking snow. I know I've got 2 or 3 tractors set up for snow, but no snow yet. So it has been brought to my attention that on TikTok there is a account claiming to be me. I do not have TikTok. I think it's stupid. I am not on it. So if you see me on TikTok, it's a scammer, not me. It was brought to my attention a few days ago that there's an account that looks like me on there. So I do not do TikTok. I hate it. I think it's stupid. It's not me. Also, let's see here. I do a live every other Sunday, but you guys probably already know that. Let's see, what the heck else? As always, if you want to request a video, put it in the comments. Don't request a snow plowing video because, well, we ain't got no snow. TikTok is not stupid. It's the most popular app right now. Well, I think it's pretty stupid. All there is on there is a lot of whores and other crayon eaters doing stupid things and eating Tide Pods. I'm not the least bit interested in it. So, yeah, I'm not on it. If somebody sees somebody that's pretending to be me on it, it's a scam and you are free to report them. Yeah, I know. We haven't had enough snow in the last 2 years to do anything, so I haven't been able to plow snow or do anything. I've rode my snowmobile twice in the last 2 years, and it wasn't enough to really do anything. It was just a couple of inches, so I took it out, did a few rounds around the field to keep it running because, I mean, it only runs when there's snow, so I'll start it, you know, in the summer every month or two to keep it running, but it doesn't run or get warm or anything for the most part. Let it warm up a little and shut it off, and that's it. So I've not got to do any plowing or anything. TT actually has a lot of good info and a lot of useless shit as well. Yeah, there is a lot of useless shit. Every time I see advertisements for it, it's just hoes and douchebags and stupid things. Every time I hear about it, it's, well, this TikTok challenge, you know, such and such ate a Tide Pod, or this guy broke into this building and did stupid thing number 695, and it just doesn't sound interesting to me, so I have no interest in using it. Mississippi here, have 2 Deere 430 garden tractors, love them. They're good tractors, that's for sure. I got a 400, but that's my biggest garden tractor. Well, thank you, Tim. If my comments would stick around here, that's better. The John Deeres are definitely the best. I do have some other brands, but John Deere is by far the best out of all of them. Let's see here. There was a couple other things I wanted to go over, but I don't remember what they were. They'll come to me eventually, hopefully. John was supposed to release his video today on that transmission that I did, So I'll have to go over there and see if he actually did like he was supposed to. You like Kubota as well for garden tractors? Kubotas are about the worst pieces of shit. The neighbors, well, both of my neighbors have Kubotas, and I can work circles around both of those pieces of garbage. The Kubota engines aren't horrible. They're not great. They're not as good as the Yanmar. But the tractors are just the absolute worthless pieces of shit. I've run several Kubotas, and they are just junk. Not meaning to poop on your parade here. I'm just giving you my experience with them. I'm particular about what I own. I like the Deeres. They're the best. And I haven't found anything else really that adds up to the John Deeres. I loaded 2 John Deere Model Bs one day on a gooseneck trailer, a deck over, with a small, like a 15 horse John Deere compact tractor with a loader. Never had an issue, pushed them right up on. But I can't move a scoop of gravel with the neighbor's Kubota unless it's in 4-wheel drive. A lot at work, along with Deeres. Deere break down more. Then probably somebody's renting them more because they're better and abusing the hell out of them. The Kubotas are just junk. They're completely worthless. The Deeres are pretty reliable. Anything's not going to be reliable though if you don't maintain it. So, I mean, a lot of times the better stuff gets used more, and well, getting used more equals more wear and tear and break down more. They don't get rented out. Well, people at the yard probably still use them all. Everybody's probably using the Deeres because they're better. I'm being gifted a Deutz Alice. Oh boy. Got to get it moved to the shop. Don't know much about them though. A friend of mine bought a Deutz. Doesn't run. It doesn't have an engine in it. He bought it out of a parts yard. I think it was a 1920, so it would have had a 18 or a 20 horse Kohler Magnum in it. Kohler Magnum's good engine. I did like some of the design on it. Of course, it still doesn't run or drive or anything. They haven't done anything with it. But some of the designs are good. I've never run a Deutz. Don't really like them. My dad said that he's run some and they're pretty well junk. I don't have any experience on them, so I can't really talk. I mean, they have a good engine, so at least the power plant's decent. I don't remember what the transmission is. I think it's also a Sunstrand, so they're a decent one. Yeah, I don't really find anybody looking for Deutz Alices. They're cheaper than Deere. They're probably about half the price of a Deere for the same size tractor, and of course you get what you pay for. But again, I've never run one. I do like a couple of the features and designs they have. The hydro lever kind of sticks further out the side, so you can get a hold of it around the steering wheel better. Kind of a nice design. The 1920 actually has a digital, well, not a digital, a electric fuel gauge in the dash. That's nice. Just a few other luxuries that the Deere didn't have. Why I don't have any other color tractor other than green? I played because they're the best. This is true. I've said it 1,000 times, but I'm about to say it again. I talked to a guy over the summer. He was a die-hard Cub collector, he said, and a friend of his brought him a John Deere 210 and let him run it. and he said compared to the John Deere, the Cubs look homemade. He said he got rid of all his Cubs, and he's got 5 or 10 John Deeres now. He says they're more expensive, but they're worth every penny. He said he loves them. He would never go back to a Cub. And I'm with him. I did buy a Cub. Well, I've bought lots of Cubs to sell over the years. Never been a fan of them. I have a Cub 122 right now that I got running to use. And of course, it's got a Kohler K-Series engine, which is a good engine, so there's that. But the Cubs just aren't built out of as strong of a metal as the John Deeres, so they're kind of chintzy. The transmission's definitely not as good as the John Deere's, but the John Deere used for the gear drives a Peerless 2300. Cub made their own transmission, so I got to give them that. But their transmission's not very good. The real clutch situation, it's not great. Mine slips more than the John Deere gear drive with the belt drive clutch situation. The Cub slips way more. I don't really like that. See here. Cub doesn't have a built-in creeper gear, but I mean, really, who cares about that? I mean, you don't hardly ever use creeper gear anyway. I don't really like that Cub has a metal hood. After having some, the metal hood keeps it from breaking, but also if your battery is too tall, you know, on the Deeres, it'll rub on the hood, which is fiberglass, so who cares? But if you have that problem in a Cub, then you might become bacon pretty quick. So, not a big fan of the metal hood. I like the plastic or the fiberglass like the Deere has. They're lighter. I'm sure they were cheaper to make. And yeah, you don't have that issue. Ran a John Deere 314 for plowing snow today. And I now see why you like the gear drives. The hydros spin a lot. Yeah, hydros aren't real good. I don't like them though because it takes a few horsepower right on top just to run the hydro, not doing anything. A gear drive doesn't do that. I mean, you have way more power running with a gear drive than a hydro. If you got a 12 horse hydro and a 12 horse gear drive, you're going to have at the wheels way more power with the gear drive than the hydro. And it's more of a sure drive unless your clutch is slipping. The hydrostatic, you know, you can put the lever in one position and go, say, 4 miles an hour. Well, now you drop a plow on the ground and it's going to pull you down to 2 miles an hour with the RPM the same and the hydro lever in the same position. The gear drives doesn't have that problem. You've constantly got to be adjusting your hydro lever. I don't really like that because I'm too lazy to do that. I've got 16 other things I'm trying to do. I'm trying to run the hydraulics, trying to steer. Half the time I'm trying to film, watch my equipment. I can't be doing another thing. It's just inconvenient. So that's a good reason for me to go with gear drive versus a hydro. The only downside is your clutches, but I mean, it's cheaper to put a new clutch in a tractor than it is to rebuild a hydrostatic trans. I do like about the 400 series Deeres though, they have a high-low transmission behind the hydrostatic transmission, so you do have the ability to basically downshift and get a little more power out of it, which is definitely nice. I'm going to do this. I have noticed the 112 patio, which is a 10 horse, plows garden better than the 140, which is a 14 horse, simply because It's the difference between a gear drive and a hydrostatic. Hydrostatic will lose every time. All right. Ooh. That seems fine. Just fall down. All right. Let's see here. What else we got? Anybody else have any other? Oh, here's another comment. My father uses 214 to mow grass sometimes and runs at full throttle. I asked him why, and he said it's how you are supposed to run it. I also threw a wrench at him. That's fucking rough. When you bought one new, they do tell you mow at full throttle. The problem with that is, for me, is these are old engines. I try to give them a bit of a break. But also, that's just, the higher your RPM, the more wear and tear. And mowing is the worst thing you can do on them. So yes, mowing at full throttle is the best way to mow. But I try to give these old engines a little bit more of a break. And I really don't mow them really at all. But don't know why you threw a wrench at him. That doesn't sound very nice. But okay. It doesn't really hurt them to run them at full throttle. It just, like I said, it wears them out a little bit faster. I mean, otherwise, the 16 horses don't like to be run at full throttle constantly, is what I'm told. They don't oil as well as the others. But, I mean, they're meant to be run at like 3,500 RPM or something like that, so it's a typo. I meant almost. You meant almost threw a wrench at him? John runs all his at way beyond full throttle, which is probably why he has some of the problems that he does, because he doesn't pay attention to how high you're supposed to go. I think they're supposed to run at like 3,500 RPM, but don't quote me on that because I don't remember. I don't run mine that high usually. I like to run them about, I don't know, probably 2,500. Sometimes 3 would be my guess, but they don't have tacks, so there's not really a way to tell without some fancy tools, which I don't have. Oh, he's one of those. Yeah, I guess he deserved a wrench thrown at his head then. I hate people that don't respect equipment. I just want to give them the beating of their lifetime because that's what they deserve. My grandfather's that way. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So don't maintenance it, which I don't go for that sort of thing, but okay, whatever. That's why his equipment's all broken all the time. Same with John. He maintenances them, but not to my standards. I mean, I'm pretty lax on maintenance. I slack off on it sometimes, but John is just ridiculous. On his 317, he sold it now, fortunately, had a pressure system for the engine oil, so I had a filter. And his version of changing the oil was he claims new oil in it, but it didn't look new. Probably used out of a different tractor. And ignore the filter. Didn't change the filter or anything. So I say that's a no-no, but John apparently doesn't care. The only thing I may make sure to do is change the oil around every 25 hours like you're supposed to in these Kohlers, and make sure they're always full. Let's see here. What the heck else was I going to go over in this? People are ignorant. That's true. Very true. Yeah, I don't really know. We're in that kind of stage, time of year, that I can only do so much in the video department. I mean, it's too muddy, really, to do any work. And rainy and miserable. So I can't really go out and have action going on. But at the same token, there's not snow, so can't do anything with that. Just mud. Normally we have snow and mud, but not the last couple years. How often do I take my tractors to shows? Not very. I think I've only taken them once or twice. Well, probably twice. I took them to Columbus one year to Classic Green. I think that was what, 21? I did that. And then last year, no shit, 2 years ago, 22, I took them to the show in Worcester. Took a couple of them. Took the 216 to Columbus and the 140 and a 110 to Worcester. But I don't really like to take them to shows. A lot of times, especially at local fairs, which I won't take anything to a fair because, you know, at the fairs, you'll walk around and people have don't touch or don't sit on the tractor's signs. And these horrible, horrible parents are just sitting here watching their kids play on the tractor. It's like, can you not read, you blind Karen? So I can't handle that. If I saw something like that happening, there would be ass whoopings handed out. And of course, you're not allowed to do that. So I just keep my stuff here where it's safest, and I'll take it to around occasionally and help people, but I don't take it to shows. I've not been to a plow day yet. I just do my own. For a while, I wanted to go to the PA plow day, but every year I was getting geared up and ready and the tractor broke. So I never made it, and then I just haven't decided to go to one. Last year I was going to go to one in eastern Ohio somewhere. Didn't make it to that. Just decided to do something else that weekend, so eventually I'll make it to one, but I don't take my tractors out. Just got a Ford 125, has a similar tiller and deck. Yeah, has a similar tiller and deck to what now? I think Ford was made by Jacobson, I want to say. I think Jacobson made the Fords. And I guess they're not very good. I'm not sure. I've never owned one, but a friend of mine, well, an acquaintance of mine in high school had one. It got a Kohler engine, which is good, but I guess he couldn't stop having transmission problems with it. He kept trying to give it to me for $100. He had redone the motor and this and that, and I didn't want that thing. That's why I stick with John Deere's and obviously some Graveleys. The Graveleys are nice, but they're definitely no John Deere. Yeah, I asked before. Get on. Yep. Yeah, people should not just be climbing all over your tractors or whatever you take. And I mean, no, that's just not okay. Mine's out for 10 years. Put fresh gas in it, fire it up. It's great. It floods a bit, but I'm going to straighten that out. Yep, carburetor problem. Probably either the float sunk or it's not adjusted right on your jets. I just had one that kept flooding out. Rebuilt it and checked everything. Nothing was wrong with it. Ran for probably 20 minutes total, and then the float sunk. So it happens. So that's just something you got to watch out for. Unfortunately, these floats are getting old. I don't know if they're still for sale, but at one point you could get a new float for them. I have one extra that I bought when I found them, and I haven't used it yet. I was actually able to get another one. I bought a tractor and it came with a new Kohler float, so I just used that in it, in the carburetor that needed it. That way I still have mine. Oy. It's the flood, I believe. I shut it off after it flooded and it fired right up, no problem. I think it was one-time thing. If it was the float, it's not going to be a one-time thing unless it got stuck, not sunk. Sometimes your needle will get some dirt on it and get stuck. Do the magnetos go out on those deers? How hard is it to replace? On what deers? Because like the 110s with the 8-horse Kohlers, yeah, they go out and they're not worth replacing. You just switch them to an electronic ignition. I think 69 140s had a magneto situation also. On them Kohlers, I just switch it to electronic ignition and ignore the magneto because they are just trouble. The junk compasses have a magneto situation on them also, and those are even harder to get parts for. You don't really fix them, you just replace them on the junk compasses. That may be why I'm having issues with my 110 shooting flames and dying. Yep, the 8-horse Kohlers in the 110s, a lot of them had the solid state magneto. Just put a set of points on it, switch it to an electric ignition. Well, they should already have points. You'll just need a different key switch and do some different wiring in it to make it electronic ignition. It's pretty easy. I did it on the 110 Patio 71 that I did probably a year ago, year and a half now. What's up, Mike? Love your videos and channel. Thank you. Got a challenge for you. Oh dear, what is it? Built on a budget. I can relate with that. Oh my, that is 100% true to my whole channel. Built on a budget. I like that. Good name. I like it. Give me any topic and I could tie it. That's nice. I don't play those games. Let's see here. Does anybody else have any? Oh, my junk compass on my Sears has no problem, surprisingly, except when it gets wet. That's nice. Yeah, when they run pretty good, I guess. But if they break, boy, oh boy, you are in for it. They're not reliable. They're kind of junky. I've only met one person, maybe two, that likes them. Everybody else says, I hate them. They're junk. They're garbage. And I'm in that boat. I hate them. That's one of the reasons I hate the Sears garden tractors, because they have a Peerless 6-speed rear end. And that's the best part of the whole tractor. The rest of it's just junk. They have the idiotic junk compass engines in them. And they're not built for heavy work. They're like a Craftsman now. They're kind of a throwaway tractor from back in the day, but they're one of the better throwaways. but they are a throwaway, more or less. They're all over the place. I hate them. They had to be special. They had to have their own 3-point and this and that, and couldn't just use category 1 or category 0 or 2 or whatever. Like everybody else, they had to make their own stupidity 3-point setup. You can't find a sleeve hitch for them. I mean, they're light in the front end. They're light tractors. They can't do much work. A friend of mine has some Sears, and he likes them, but he doesn't work them. He just drives it around in his yard on his little postage stamp type of deal. I think he's got an acre or two. Who wants what now? What is typical compression for a Kohler K series? I think about 125. I don't compression test mine. As long as it's got compression and it'll run, go with it. Don't bother with compression. If you need to have an exact number, the book will tell you, but I have never compression tested an engine. Not worth my time. I don't even have the tool to do it. As long as it's got compression, you should be good. It's fairly easy to tell if it's got enough compression by turning it over by hand and feeling how much. I mean, just pretty much if these have any compression, they'll run. They're pretty good little engines. But I think I saw somewhere somebody had like 125 in theirs. I don't know. That might have been on something completely different. I don't remember. Boy, oh boy. I really wish I remembered what I was fixing to go over with everybody. Now, why don't you scroll up, you stupid YouTube thing? What's my favorite two-cylinder Deere? Shit. I don't know. I like the A's, but I think maybe a G. I really like the G's. They're a pretty darn nice tractor. They're just really high dollar. I guess I'll shoot the same question back at you. What's your favorite two-cylinder Deere? And anybody can answer this. Does anybody like two cylinders also? No. Sold my 214. Guy used it for 4 hours the next day with a drag on his property. Okay, nice. They're pretty good old tractors. They're good and reliable. I really don't know why this is laughing at me like it is. Yeah, I don't know the longest I've used one. I don't usually use them for a ton of hours at a time. I did use the 140 for 2 or 3 hours at one time over the summer here. And usually when we're dragging logs, they'll run for a few hours at a time if I'm using them. But around here, they don't get used for super long periods of time. I'll run them for an hour or something and park it and let it rest, and if I need to do some more, I'll go back later. Dang it, it's hard to tell. I like the B's and maybe the LI. Oh, B's used to be my favorite when I was quite a bit younger, but I like the A's, but the G's just have a good bark to them, good luck to them. I don't mind the 70s. I've always kind of liked those. I currently own one. I just need to get my finger out of my ass and finish getting it running. But yeah, probably the A or the G is going to be my favorite. We never liked the L's because we're fat and we can't get on them very easily. Same with the M's, the MTs, and the Farmall A. They're just a pain in the ass to get on and off of if you're fat. My favorite two-cylinder, probably the 525/30 and the 44/30. We got 525/30, but we got a 420 crawler sitting right here. It's kind of what you see. But we don't like the Dubukes, really. We like the Waterloo two-cylinders. Are the G's smaller than the A? No, they're bigger than the A. A G is rated at, I think, 36 horse, I want to say is what the book says. But they're another 2,000 or 3,000 pounds heavier than the A. They're a bigger bore, lower RPM, bigger engine. You basically get your more power and torque. You can pull a hell of a lot more with a G than you can an A. And the G's sound pretty darn good. They have a good bark to them. The G is the biggest row crop letter series deer. But the A's rated at 35 horse or something like that. And it's 6,000 pounds, I think. 5,500 maybe, 5,000. I don't remember. No, I haven't sold any cubs yet. I keep having shit for brains asking me about them, and when I tell them the price, they just ignore me. It's the normal marketplace thing. They say, "Is it still available?" You respond, and they ignore you. But I thought my asking price for $600 for all three of them was pretty darn good, especially since the 122 has a deck, and hell, I could probably part just the 122 out and get $600. I just figured I'd sell them and get back out of them what I had in them. If I sold them separately, they'd be a lot more than that. Not super surprised about the 105. People don't like the hydrostatics. For the scrubs, they only want the gear drives because they think they can make a puller with them, and then they get laughed at and gapped by a John Deere. Add-on Cub page, seen there was a 420 out your way for sale for like $750. On the Cub page? Didn't know Cub made a 420. Unless you mean a John Deere 420, I would never buy another one of those. I hate those. That's as bad as a 318. I've been using my other 122, and like I said, it's not a John Deere by any means, but it's okay. What is a close comparison for a John Deere garden tractor brand to buy? A close comparison? Well, every brand will tell you that they compare to John Deere, but I haven't found a single garden tractor brand that even comes close to comparing to a John Deere. My second choice is a Gravely, but that's only because you can run a front attachment on them, and most of them have a Kohler K-Series. I mean, other than that, nothing compares to a John Deere, really. The Sears are junk. They're about the bottom of the barrel. I mean, Cub thinks they're all this stuff, but they don't come close to comparing to a John Deere. It was a John Deere 420 on Marketplace. Yeah, I hate those things. I had one before. I will never, ever, ever buy another one. Same with a 318 John Deere. Didn't even rate him because of it being on Marketplace. Well, I wouldn't buy one anyway, unless you have lots of time and money on your hands. Those Onins are junk. I think if I had a replacement engine, well, the problem with having one with a replacement engine is if you didn't do it, you don't know if it was done right. So I mean, you could buy it and the engine could just be sitting in there chilling, not bolted in correctly, or only have one bolt holding it, or the drive shaft is just kind of hanging on with one bolt just enough to sell it because nothing's lining up. And engine swapping is just a pain in the butt. Just keep the stock engine, and if you don't want a tractor with a certain engine, just don't buy that model. Very simple. Like the Gravely 450, the biggest 400 series, but it's got an Onan, so I'm going with the 432s, which are a 14 horse instead of the 16.5 horse Onan. I hate Onan engines. I don't have any Onans right now. I don't have anything except Kohler, with the exception of I have one Briggs, but that's not in a garden tractor. And my side tag 112 obviously has a Tecumseh in it because that's what's stock, but I'm not going to use it. I'm just restoring it to show, or maybe sell at the rate I'm going. I don't really think I want to keep it. So if anybody knows anybody that wants a 112 hydraulic lift side tag, let me know. It's almost done. I got to finish up the engine, paint the engine, the seat mounts and seat back, a hood, and then I think it can go together the rest of the way. It's got tires on it already. It's all, I took it every nut and bolt out, sandblasted it, primed it, painted it, clear coated it. It's sitting over there behind that Gravely, all that green you see. If anybody knows anybody that wants a side tag that's either a partially done restoration or whatever, I would like a hydraulic lift gear drive, but I know nothing about them. Hydraulic lifts are awesome. You don't want a Tecumseh if you want to use it though. I am a Cub and Boland's guy, to be honest. To be truthful though, I also have a John Deere 212, and the John Deere 212 blows them all out of the water, doesn't it? Cub I can kind of understand, and I'm not going to beat you up too bad on there. They're junkier than a Deere, but Boland's, really? That's another, like a Sears, it's just a throwaway. Wheel horse, Sears, Boland's, some of them, kind of a junky throwaway. And I never really thought I'd like the Simplicities, but to be honest, they seem to be okay. I wish they'd had a Kohler instead of a Briggs in the older ones. But I mean, honestly, they're a pretty heavy built tractor. I think I like them. I've not got a lot of experience with them, but I've had one or two, and John has a couple of home lights, which are Simplicity tractors that are rebadged, and they're not too bad. I like them, I think. But Boland's, ugh. Those things are, hell, I don't even know. Those might be worse than Sears. I'm told they're pretty chintzy. I have a friend that collected them, and he put loaders on some of them, and man, broke the front axles and broke the spindles and broke this and that just with putting a loader on it, not actually doing anything. 212 holds its own, does really good pulling a plow. Yeah, the 212, that's a darn good tractor. What models did you say your Cub was? Oh, you didn't say. I wouldn't mind. I think I like the Cub enough that I'm going to keep one or two around, at least for a little while, till they give me an excuse to get rid of them. I'm going to sell 3 of the ones I have. I'm going to sell a 122, a 105, and a 108. And then I think I'm going to try and pick up a 124, 126, and 128, so I have all 4 12-horse Cubs. If Cub was real smart, though, they'd have put, the gear drives in some of the bigger tractors. Like if they'd have made, a 148 or 146, I think they made a 147 and 9. They'd have made a 146 and 8. Those would have been better because, 14 horse. Same with, I know they made a 169. If they'd have made a 168, that'd have been pretty good. But they apparently didn't want to compete with John Deere's bigger gear drives, so they just minded their own business and went to 12 horse and said, figure it out, people. I don't buy hydrostatics really, so I wouldn't mind having a Cub with a 16 horse to try out, but I don't want a hydro, so I'm not going to buy one. I did find a 124 that I'm kind of watching. I don't know if I want to go get it, though. Right now it's not really in the budget anyway. I would like an 82 series scrub garden tractor. 82. Those are gear drive, but they are belt driven, not shaft driven. John and his brother have, I think they have two 482s. And they're gear drive. I know the bigger ones are hydrostatics, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I don't really know much about those. I've got a 1966 122, a 67 122, and then I want to say it's a 69 105, and a I don't even remember, 70 something, 73 108. Does that sound right, Cub guys? 73 maybe? I can't remember. I have a 73 122, a 73 122. According to my parts, or my serial number breakdown, they were made 65, 6, and 7. 127, 149. Or do you mean, wait, did Cub make a Model 73? I don't know. I'm confused. 982. And 1641. I want the 1912/1914. They're rare, but found one. They're expensive. Might settle for a 982. Have a 149. I had a couple of 125s. Didn't like them. My Bowens is 1477 large frame, small tube frame, 1050 big. I'd like to have a 682 or a 782. Yeah, they are all model numbers. I didn't know Cub made a model 73. I know they did a 70 and an original and a 100, and then they started into the other models that make more sense to me. Didn't know they did a 73. Guess you learn something new every day, don't you? So, to you guys out here that are Cub guys, or you have a Cub or whatever, what's your favorite model of Cub? The guy I bought my Cub 122 from said that the 122 is his all-time favorite Cub. He said he's got like 6 of them. I guess he sold me mine from his hoard because he couldn't get it to run right, or didn't want to mess with it, or he'd had it for a while and hadn't done anything with it, something like that. But he said he had a bunch of other 122s because they was his favorite. And so far, I do like the 122. The only thing I wish was different is the steering wheel and dash setup. You can't really throttle it up without reaching through the steering wheel, and so you can't throttle it up if you're having to turn. Your favorite Cub is green and yellow and a what? I want a big John Deere. What should I get? My favorite Cub is, hey, come back here, is 149. I've had it about 15 years. Wow. If you want a big John Deere, depending on what year range, if you want a gear drive, 216 is the biggest one you can get. If you want a hydrostatic or you don't care, I like the 400. Don't buy a 420 because they have an Onan engine. Otherwise, the 420 is not bad. It's got diff lock and high-low. It's basically a 400 with some more creature comforts and an Onan engine. The 430s are darn nice on hard ground and pavement, but you start getting into any sort of wet ground or mud and they're completely useless. They're pieces of shit. They're too heavy in the front end and they're ugly. They look like Pinocchio on steroids. I do like the 317s, but they're not a super garden tractor. A lot of people don't like them because the engine. I know I'm missing 1,005 comments. I'm still talking here. I don't know. But I think for the money, the 400 is probably the best one. They're anywhere between 800 and 2 grand, depending on the condition and the hours, attachments, whatnot. And you get quite a bit of bang for your buck on a 400. Now I'm going to continue with comments. Favorite Cubs are 1872, 982, 1912, and 1914. And has 210 written down the side. Oh, well, that's not a scrub. Come on, wakey wakey. There, YouTube. I thought I wanted a 318 till I heard you say they are a no-go. Yeah, they would be a nice little tractor. They're a good size. They have power steering, but they have an own engine, which is a complete, absolutely not for me. I will not buy a tractor with an own engine unless it's almost free and going to be for parts or to flip, but you can't really sell them very easily either. They're pretty pricey, but they don't sell, it seems like. I will only buy Kohler tractors now. Kohlers are definitely the best. I can't find any other engine that comes close. I do like the Briggs. They're pretty good engines, but Kohlers are the best. Put Kohlers in both my Steiners. I'd like to own a 332 to restore. 332s, all it is the diesel 317. An open frame diesel 317. I don't really want any 300 series anymore. I got two 317s and that's more than enough. Thought about selling them. The problem with the 300 series that I've found is a lot of the work that I do is front blade work. So, put a 4-way hydraulic blade on, and with the 140, of course, you got enough spools to do that. Well, with the 317, you only have 2 spools. One of them is to lift and lower the snowplow, and it has float. The other one is to angle the snowplow and lift and lower the mower deck, sleeve hitch, whatever else you have on it that's mid-mount or rear mount, like a tiller. And the problem is, without the divider valve lockout, which are pretty hard to come across and expensive, if you're using your blade and you're trying to have it straight and you hit something with the corner of the blade on the right, it just angles to the right and picks up or sets down the sleeve hitch. So they're not good for what I need. And of course I like the screw drives better, so I'm thinking I'm going to sell one or both of my 317s and probably keep one of them and the 400 around, and otherwise just go with 1 and 200 series. I know I've missed a bunch of comments. Mike, you might know this. Why do guys flip their hydraulic grips around? Because they're special? Or sometimes they don't know which way they're supposed to go. Somebody will tell them, oh, that's backwards, you should flip it around, and that person doesn't know what they're talking about. I see some flipped around like that. I guess it's just however you want it to be. It wouldn't surprise me also if some people, when they bought them brand new, went in and told the dealer, hey, I don't exactly like how this feels. Can you flip these grips around? Or are they stationary in one direction? And the dealer said, sure, we'll pop them off, flip them around for you to make a sale. That wouldn't surprise me one bit either. They did do some stuff like that. It does bother me that they put yellow wheel weights on so many patios, though. That, I guess, they just, unless they bought a patio or got a patio from the factory with wheel weights already on it, they just threw yellow ones on it unless somebody told them, no, paint those white. What's your take on the 140? I really like the look of them. I know they are not a big tractor though. I love the 140s other than the fact that it's a hydrostatic. If the 140 could have been manufactured as a gear drive tractor, it would be the ultimate 100 series garden tractor with a gear drive. The H3 is super, super, super nice because everything's separate. You can put a rear blade and a front blade on and have your power angle, power raise and lower, and still raise and lower it separate from your rear or mid-mount attachment. The 14 horse Kohler is a great engine, really reliable. They are a good tractor. They're probably one of my favorite hydrostatics. They look good. The only issues with them really are they have creep a lot. They pretty much all have issues with having creep and just running all over the place. And the earlier ones, the transmissions weren't as good. They kind of weren't beefed up enough. So if you get one that's 1971, 2, 3, or 4, it's got the new style trans, which is better. 1972, 3, and 4 had 1-inch spindles versus the 3/4, which are also better, nicer to have. Especially if you're going to run like a front snow plow or a loader or something with a lot of weight on the front, the 1-inch spindles are better to have. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of bad to say about them, other than from the factory, the engines had balance gears in them, which did cause problems. Basically, you just take the oil pan off, and I think you have to take the crank part way out to get the balance gears out. And you just take them out, remove them, and throw them in the trash can, or preferably in a box and hang on to them for a rainy day. That's what I did with mine. Because currently everybody's taking their balance gears out. Eventually, collectors are going to say, hey, I want the balance gears in because that's correct. And balance gears are going to be worth a boatload of money. So keep your balance gears if you get rid of them. Other than that, I mean, they're easy to work on. They're simple. I don't like that they weren't smart enough to put a drain plug in the transmission now. You got to take the front hydraulic line off of the transmission to drain it. But yeah, they are really good tractors. If you want something that's, fairly high dollar, I mean, it's probably the most high dollar garden tractor that's a closed frame. Everybody loves them, other than the round fenders. I mean, they're probably worth more than round fenders anyway. I'd like a 140 for groundwork. They are nice. I think I have 5 of them. Don't the 140s have a creep adjustment? They do have a creep adjustment. It can be a pain to work on though. Okay, thanks. I'm going to hop out of the live. All right, have a good one. Make your own drain plug. Nope, I don't go for that sort of thing in a hydrostatic. That just causes problems. We did do that one day in a Gravely because they don't have drain plugs either because they're real smart too. Me and John drilled a hole in the bottom of a case on a Gravely one day. Come on, little fella. No, okay. All right, well, it's 7 o'clock here for me. It seems like some of you guys are hopping off, so unless there's anything else we need to go over today, I'm going to start getting ready to wrap up and call it a night. Don't know if I'll do any work on anything tonight, but I'm going to be getting off here in a couple minutes if nobody has anything else to put in. Do you have any 26-12-12 super lugs you want to sell? No, I don't. I don't sell any of my Carlisle bar tires. Carlisle bar tires, front 5 and 3 ribs, sleeve hitches, and weights are a few of the things that I do not sell no matter what. I won't get rid of any of them. That's why I have a stack of weights that's 3 feet tall over here. All right, Mike, gonna hop off. Have a good night. You too. See you later. Catch you in 2 weeks for the next live. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. Think you wish you could get back to 23 by all I could back. Yeah. Have a good one. You too. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed our live. As usual, we have a live every other Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's currently 7. We usually go for about an hour, hour and a half, but usually it's an hour. So I'm going to be signing off. Thanks everybody for watching. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in comments of any video. If you are watching this later once it's not live and you want to actually see a live, they happen every other Sunday at 6 p.m. Just drop in. We are usually here till around 7. If you are not able to make it and you would like me to do a live at a different time, this week I would like to try to get to a live during the week, during the day, and go over some of the stuff in the other building. So just drop a comment down below and let me know what time works best for you. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will catch you in 2 Sundays at 6 p.m.